Okay, so the last few times I found out that unfortunately I lost all of my footage, which great, I have to play it all over again. Um, and so far I've catched up to the storyline of the two detectives, finished those, moved on to the high school girl Yako Sakazaki, I think, and I'm continuing that storyline and will hopefully catch up to where I left off last time. So let's get into it. Very well. But you don't have nothing with you.
Oh, wait,
Wait, you do? Was it in your hand?
huh? Well, this is what I forgot. I got it from my grandpa. It's really important to me.
Girls these days sure have weird tastes. Well, okay. Better head straight home if you're done. I won't tell on you. No, wait. I can't let you walk home alone this late. Alright, wait just a little. I'll hurry and lock things up.
But
Well, last time, I fucked up by checking out on Mio, knowing damn well that she's already dead. I'm gonna go home alone without checking on Mio this time.
oh right, Mr. Yonoichi was actually looking for you inside the main building.
Was that? He's right. He's here right now. What's he thinking?
I don't know. He was in class 3B on the second floor just a bit ago.
Well, I suppose that means I can't be locking up yet. Second floor, he said. I'll go take a peek. Be back in a jiff.
My house is really close by. I'll be fine on my own, really.
That's so. Ah, the snack shop, right? How does he know? That's awfully specific thing to remember every student's location or where they live. Suppose you'll be fine then. Be careful now, you hear? Stay on the big, well-lit roads. If something happens, shout fire.
Okay. You worry too much.
Well, we wouldn't want to be losing any more students. Though I imagine you'd know that better than anyone.
Yes, you're right.
Yako Sakazaki, 2 a.m. Kumakata High School front gates. Get the fuck out of here. Why are you still there?
Mio's late. I've been waiting for 20 or 30 minutes, but there's no sign of her. Huh? There's someone coming down the road.
Fuck.
That's...
Another guy that's ready to kill you, that's for sure. If it's not Shogo, it's any other middle-aged guy.
Oh no, a teacher. It's Mr. Araishi.
Not this guy.
He looks on edge. I wonder what he's doing. Wait, he's the one who discovered the rite of resurrection. It wouldn't be strange for him to be involved with the curses. I wonder if he has a curse stone. What do I do? But it's way past the 10 minutes Mio said she'd be here by. I managed to escape. I can't let it go to waste. I need to get out of here before anyone sees me.
Wow, good judgment for once. Yako Sakazaki, 2 a.m. Yako's home. Oh, am I happy for this gal.
Ah, I'm home. Thank goodness. I don't think the walk has ever felt so long. Nobody will be able to use their curse once it's light outside. I need to go look for Mio as soon as it's morning. But for now, I need some rest.
Oh, man. That must be really rough. Like finding out your friend died and then also finding out your other friend dies the like 2 weeks after. That's how this ends. There's no saving Mio. That's really sad, actually. I've played this part and this, but I hadn't played a successful gateway just to get some like in between stage to like, I don't know, to not feel too stiff, because it gets really boring after a while having to replay the same thing. So I decided to play something I haven't played yet in between, which thank God I hadn't played yet. But fuck, that's such a depressing ending. Alright, well, back on track. I'm gonna start with Harue Shigima. Oh my god. Did they have to start at such a moment? I forgot it started like this, but Jesus Christ. Kill them. Kill them. The flame bearers. Kill them all. You have acquired the power of the curse stone, the Haunting Clappers. You can use it to kill those with fire or fire starting device on their person. Press the use curse button to set your targets alight. A murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Now, kill. Can you hear it, Curse Bearer? You who so strongly desires the right. Kill them. Harue Shigima, 12 a.m. Shigima Mansion reception room. Back with me, ma'am? Can't say I understand what just happened, but it certainly seems to have put you in a good mood. This might be the first time I've ever seen you really smile. Sweet dreams. Harue Shigima, housewife. No, not dreams. Sounds like something I might want to hear about. My heart's still racing. This is it, my chance, at long last. Let me bring you up to speed. We were in the middle of a chat when you suddenly started spacing out, and the whole time you were grinning to yourself like you just won the lottery. Care to tell me what that was all about? Well, where to start? Interesting. Very interesting. Only Harue would be smiling and giggling to herself as she's getting the curse power, whereas everyone else was like, I don't know, reefing in pain and shit. She's just like, hee hee hee, I can finally resurrect my dead son. Youpee. So, the Haunting Clapper's curse echo appeared out of nowhere. Told you how to perform the rite of resurrection and gave you the curse you'll need to do it. Have I got that right? That's right. So it's all real. Honestly, I still find it hard to believe. But I guess I have to now. Jesus. I saw that curse stone appear in your hand myself. It looked like it popped clean out of thin air. With evidence that clear, there's no denying that there's some supernatural force at work. A private investigator I hired. A friend told me about him. They said he's not very well known, but he's good at what he does. When I first visited his office in Ota City and saw how he dressed, I could hardly believe he was a detective. But after talking to him for a while, I changed my mind. He says some strange things at times, but he seems like the reliable sort.
I don't think you quite understand.
Oh?
This isn't about evidence, and it isn't about belief. It's more than that. I know it's real. The moment the curse appeared, I knew everything before it even said a word. It was already there in my head, as clear as day.
You just knew, huh?
It was etched onto my soul, along with the curse echoes resentful memories. So I can feel it, what it was like. Dying like they did hundreds of years ago. Wreathed in flame, writhing in pain, as my flesh blackens and my blood boils. I can feel it. All the agony, all the rage. It fills me with bloodlust. I think I need to kill someone. Anyone will do, is just as long as they're carrying fire.
I see. That could be a problem. He's carrying a lighter. He's carrying matches.
You think so? From what I know of you, you smoke cigarettes. I was sure you'd see it as an opportunity.
The stronger the desire to resurrect someone, the stronger the urge to kill. That's how it seems to me, anyway. Good grief. Talk about a spanner in the works. I say we take a stock for a moment. Remind ourselves where we've come from and where we're going.
That might be a good idea.
That's what you hired me for, ma'am. To look into your son's kidnapping last year. To uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Shuichi Shigima.
Oh, yes. I remember. They had never did find the one who did it.
That's what I'm here about today. In fact, kind of you to let me drop by so late, by the way. I've been turning over every last stone and I've come up with a grand total of 1 lead. So overconfident for such little work.
So you said.
As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I've managed to make some headway.
I remember. You were just about to tell me.
You know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Tell you what I'm going to tell you what I've found, and then we can make a decision.
All right. About the kidnapping.
I suppose there's not much point going over the kidnapping itself.
No, I'm very familiar.
Then I'll leave that for the files to cover and just confirm a few things about the case. Okay, since all the new files aren't exactly new anymore, I'm gonna have to... because I don't think I can even delete... Yeah, no. I don't even think I can delete save files. So anything that's already been played, I don't get new anymore. So I have to actively look for all the files and then read them aloud before I move on. So... fuck, what did he mention again? It's just about the... I forgot to read about the spirit board. I mean, it's quite obvious what the spirit board does, but... Did I read about the Record of Fates? I don't think so. Well, okay, the Record of Fates. An old manuscript from the Edo period written by the sorcerer who recovered the rite of resurrection. It is viewed as a priceless and authentic document due to its detailed account on how to perform the ritual. Did I read this? Fuck, this is gonna be really dumb. Like, me just forgetting what I've read and what I haven't read before, rereading everything. I think I did read this. Well, in case I didn't, I'll just do it again. Paranormal Affairs Bureau. Although officially called the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department Security Division, Special Security Unit Paranormal Affairs Bureau, it is more commonly referred to simply as Paranormal Affairs. Only a handful of people know of its existence, even within the police force. As the name suggests, it specializes in investigation and resolution of cases involving paranormal phenomena. Since the existence of paranormal phenomena is not public knowledge, nor is it readily believed by the general population, the Bureau's activities are conducted in the utmost secrecy. Currently, there are only 5 members, including the chief. The Bureau has a network of psychic contacts across the country who assist with their cases, including Mio Kurosuzu. I thought as much. The Bureau undertakes investigations into any suspicious stories that cross their desk, though the vast majority turn out to be hoaxes. Due to the sheer volume of cases, close-lipped, experienced detectives without paranormal abilities of their own, such as Tetsuo Tsutsumi, are sometimes assigned to investigate. The current chief of Paranormal Affairs is a man named Kuiru Nakagoshi. He was born to a family of psychics who have been involved in keeping the world safe from paranormal phenomena for generations. God, these sentences are long. And has served as Mio Kurosuzu's mentor since discovering her. Kuru is an elusive figure, that's so sad. Because now Mio Kurosuzu is dead and there's no way that she's gonna make it out alive, like Shogo. So it's a bit sad to read about this after her death. Kuru is an elusive figure, very few have met him in person, and he is rarely seen in the office. It is said that this is because he has oft been the target of curses. However, some theorize that it is in fact because Kuru is not actually of flesh and blood at all. His seat in his office is usually occupied by a Nue, a legendary creature found in Japanese folklore. The Nue resembles an ordinary white thrush, and a white thrush, is that like a bird? And acts as Kuru's messenger, leading to bizarre scenes of police officers earnestly reporting their findings to a bird. The term Nakagoshi case serves as a code name used to refer to cases under investigation by Paranormal Affairs. The Nejima murders. But this is not what I was looking for, the Shigima kidnapping. A kidnapping and murder case that took place in Honjo Sumida around 1 year ago. Haruo Shigima's son, Shuichi, age 11, was kidnapped on his way home from school with a ransom being demanded that same evening. Initially, the kidnapping was thought of as a simple extortion scheme, but when it came to light that the Shigima family was closely tied to the police, and Shuichi was in fact the grandson of a senior official, it was quickly assumed that the perpetrator was actually upon a grudge against the police force. The kidnapping was treated as a direct attack against the good name of the police, and a large-scale investigation was launched that used the best equipment available to trace phone calls. This made it all the more embarrassing when they were unable to catch the culprit, losing the public's confidence. The culprit grew cocky, relentlessly mocking the police force. After 3 days of failure after failure, Haruo reached a breaking point. Spurred by concern for her son, she resolved to hand over the ransom money as fast as possible. But her husband and father, who held the prestige of the police in high regard, refused, saying that they would not let the criminal win by giving in to their demands. The increasingly frantic detective assigned to the case lost his temper when the criminal called to give in an ultimatum, causing the culprit to never make contact again. Another week passed, and Shuichi's body was found floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi's death could be largely ascribed to the police's incompetence, but this was ultimately covered up with stringent media embargoes.
The investigation was never closed, but the case has long gone cold. Mockingbirds. Ah. Okay, I think the other ones are for later. The police traced the culprit's calls back to, let's see here, Northern Oyoko River, here in Sumida City. It's quite a wide area. That's right. In the end, they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from. But it was almost certainly the same location that Shuichi was being held captive, since Shuichi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyoko River is quite the distance from Shuichi's normal school commute, factoring in that he was seen at school but went missing before he arrived at his house. It's likely that he was abducted by car on his route home. Maybe, but... Exactly. Shuichi was a clever boy. He never would have gotten into a car with a stranger. That's right. I was very firm about that. I knew he understood too. I even saw him warning the other children. It's possible that they forced him into the car. The only issue there is that there weren't any witnesses to the kidnapping. You can't bundle someone into a car with that many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward to say they saw anything suspicious. So, did they target him at some other time or somewhere away from his usual route? Both of those seem a little far-fetched. Which raises the question, how did the kidnapper pull it off? The police never managed to find an answer. In the end, they decided that the kidnapper must just have gotten lucky. Well, why not turn the problem on its head? The kidnapper managed to convince Shuichi to get into their car, but how? The only thing that makes sense to me is if there were somebody that he would have a reason to trust. A teacher, perhaps, or a relative, or somebody else that he knew. But all of the adults Shuichi knew had alibis. The police checked them out thoroughly. They did, huh? No one throws a number at a problem like the cops. But what if it wasn't someone he knew, or rather, what if the culprit disguised themselves as a police officer? That would explain why he didn't find him suspicious. The Shigima family has close ties with the police. After all, he would have had a reason to trust him. You might be right, but surely that couldn't have... Well, if there's a problem with the theory, you'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. That's sort of the point, after all. They're meant to be a visible deterrent against crime. There's another interesting little bit of trivia I happen to know. When you ask people to imagine someone suspicious, nobody pictures women or children. Even kids who've been warned about stranger danger often subconsciously expect that danger to look like an adult man. Besides, Shuichi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong. That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean... Now you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Shuichi asking for help, what would he have done? If someone like that said they were lost and asked him for directions, would he have gotten into a car? He might have. My husband always told him that a man had a duty to watch out for women and children. You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays. But if Shuichi believed it, then we might have something here. Then you think the culprit was a young woman? But it was a man's voice on the phone. She might have been an accomplice, or maybe she didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, that would explain why she hasn't come forward. She herself might not realize she had anything to do with the case.
That's wild. Not knowing that you're part of, like, like an accomplice to a murder slash kidnapping. It's a bit crazy, ma'am. So the question is, did anybody see Shuichi speaking with a young woman on the day of his disappearance? See what I said about people's biases? That goes for witnesses too. And I fear that maybe, if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. So I spent my day asking around Shuichi's school route, seeing if anyone had seen something. And one man thought he had.
Do you mean he saw it happen?
Well, I can't say that for sure yet. It turned out he wanted something from me, so he asked if he could talk in private. Several hours earlier. Alright, this should do. There's no one around. We can speak in confidence. Excuse me. What was your name again?
Yono Uchi.
Got it. Well, Yono Uchi, I'm all ears.
Just so we're on the same page. You're a private detective investigating Shuichi Shigima's kidnapping. Do I have that right?
Of course. What else do I look like?
How should I know what a private detective looks like?
Oh, forget it.
Look, I'll tell you straight. My life is in danger. I need your help.
You'll excuse me if that caught me a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who was trying to kill you?
A student called Michiyoshi Raishi.
Interesting. A schoolgirl, huh? Sounds like you've been naughty. I fucking hope not.
It's nothing like that. That girl, she's a murderer. I'm the only one who knows, but I saw what she did. Michiyoshi Raishi, I saw her kidnap Shuichi Shigima.
Come again?
I saw her talk to him on the street and lead him away. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him, I'm sure of it. Or at least she's got something to do with it. That's what you're here for, isn't it? Then you can't let her get to me.
If that's true, you've been sitting on some valuable information. Why didn't you tell anybody?
Well, you see...
If you can't explain that, I don't have any reason to believe you.
I couldn't. She told me she'd kill me if I spoke a word.
You're telling me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life? So you've been sitting on that all this time, and you think she's coming for you now that you've spilled the beans?
Yes, that's it, exactly. I'm begging you, don't let her get me. Arrest her. I'm telling you, she's a demon.
Well, you seem to believe what you're saying, but it just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified?
You don't know what she can do. She'll curse me.
Curse you? I'm sorry, but you're losing me here. Was she some kind of witch?
It's true, her house, forget it, why do I even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have known you'd never understand. Enough, I'll find someone else to help me. Hey.
So you had one lead and you fumbled the bag, my guy, come on. That's about the long and short of it.
I can hardly believe it.
At the time, I thought this mention of curses was just crazy talk. But I'm starting to see that there might have been more to it. And you let that guy get away, even though he had very much valuable information. Though Michio is already dead.
Then If he can just find that girl. Curse or no curse, if she was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, then there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging on the man I spoke to. His full name's Kohei Yonouchi. He's a teacher at Komagata High School here in Sumida. A teacher? Then this schoolgirl is one of his students. I think that's very likely. At last we've got a lead. Hopefully it'll be the breakthrough we're looking for. The Rite of Resurrection, huh? I read about it in a cold magazine the other day. Apparently some old book showed up recently with all the gory details. And they say that the rite can be found somewhere in Honjo. I remember the first time you told me about that. It felt like my prayers had been heard. Like I had hope, real hope, for the first time. Ever since that awful day, I've wondered, what if I hadn't sent him to school? What if I just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by when I don't think that if I'd done something differently, Shuichi would still be alive. You can't blame yourself, ma'am. It was the culprit's fault, not yours. Though I know that won't help any. Grief is funny like that. I'm guessing that's what you're after to write. Guess I didn't need to ask. It's written all over your face. I can't tell how much he meant to you. But, and this is a big but, if this ride is a real deal, using it will mean killing someone and stealing their soul. Ooh, those dead fish eyes. They're telling me she does not give a fuck. Is that a problem? If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you. Oh, that's a shame. A shame, huh? That's all? I thought if I'm going to be competing with other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful. You realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that? I think any parent in my position would happily kill for a chance like this. That's so, is it? Dear, oh dear. What have I gotten myself into? If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill the other curse bearers. I only need you to find them. I won't be party to murder, ma'am. Not even for a client. That's a shame. I see. I didn't realize you were so stubborn. I mean, I could say the same for you, lady. Come on. Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you were going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out. What do you have in mind? Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone after they filled it with soul drags? If it was all you were after, then I could lend you my services guilt-free. If the other curse bearers want to kill each other, that's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee a stolen curse stone will work, but we can worry about that later. Well, then I suppose we have a deal. I guess that's the difference between a true police officer and a private detective. Or a private investigator. I guess that's the true difference between a regular police officer / detective and a private detective / private investigator. A private investigator doesn't really care about people just straight up murdering each other, because it's not their job to set those people straight, I guess, because they don't get paid for that. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using my curse? Would you disapprove?
That would void our contract, ma'am. Just warning you now.
My,
About my curse. Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about that curse of yours? The haunting clappers, was it? It's one of the 7 mysteries of Hanjo, if I remember correctly.
that's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that.
Again, don't remember if I read it before or not. So I'm just gonna read it over again. Fuck it. Obviously not the beginning of the story where it comes from, because I've read all of those, I think. But definitely the resentful memory. Red, red, red. Everything has dyed crimson. My home is burning to the ground. It's hot. So, so hot. I must call for help, but I cannot speak. My throat must be burned up from the smoke. No, I think I'm already on fire. That's right. I'll just use the clappers. Clack, clack. Is anybody there? Clack, clack. Why is no one coming? I'm going to burn to death. How did it come to this? Oh, right, her. It must be the work of that vixen who appeared suddenly and enchanted my lord. That witch. It's always a woman's fault, isn't it? It's just always a woman's fault. Have you tried rolling over? You may be on fire. Maybe you should be rolling over to put the fire out instead of clacking your freaking slippers. Those hauntingly cold eyes had my lord dancing in the palm of her hand. Perhaps I was also taken in by her. It's like kind of like a bit of an incel story, honestly. This bitch, she rejected me for my lord. I bet she cursed my lord, and now she's cursing me by putting me on fire somehow. How many innocent people did I luring under orders? This must be karma. The sound of a heavy bell. It feels like my head will split open. Ah, right, the evening bell. That must be why nobody can hear the sound of my clappers. I've got to do it louder. Clack, clack. In that case, my money would be on all the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Hojo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curse makes their bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere. That sounds sensible. And if I remember correctly, your haunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person, is that right?
That's right.
In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people of fire. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. It seems like a good curse to have. It's simple and straightforward enough to use. Although it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is on the table.
You really think it's that good?
A target can't do much to throw it off, and it has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters too. Just slip one into your target's pocket and say that condition were already fulfilled before they even knew you're there. They wouldn't even know what hit them.
Maybe I wouldn't have to actually use it. I could just tell someone I could, and they'd have to do what I said.
Threats could work, although without any proof it'll come down to how convincing you can be. If only you could use the curse, then back out at the last second.
At the last second? What an interesting idea. I have a lighter right here. We could try it now.
That's an interesting proposition. What's with all the ladies in this game? They're just really, really raring to try out their curses on people around them that really are just trying to help them out. First of all, Yako with Mio. Like, come on. Like, she's a friend of yours, you're trying to kill her by testing out your curse. Now, how do I with Richter? I feel like Yoko also did something similar, but I can't say for sure. But maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig. Yeah, fair enough, dude.
Oh, I see.
You're not one, ma'am, if you don't mind me saying. And I don't think it's just a curse.
Ah, you flatterer.
I don't think that's flattery. I don't think that's a compliment. Let's just say that. As for what do we do next, first of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine. Right then. Have you decided what you want me working on? Investigate the kidnapping or help me with the right. I feel like the kidnapping could happen, like the investigation of the kidnapping could just happen any other time. Tonight is the only time he could help me with the right, so
bringing my son back is more important. I want you to help me with the rite of resurrection.
Roger that. The right it is. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill under the cover of darkness, won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before morning comes. So it's settled then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. If only they knew they had 2 paranormal detectives on the case for tonight. And once the city wakes up and I can start asking questions, I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. I'll even try and find Miss Shiraishi as part of the bargain.
Thank you. That's more than enough.
I know I just read the file, but yeah. I'm actually like wondering, did the kidnapper ever get caught? No, right? I feel like they just found the body, but they never found the kidnapper. Yeah, the investigation was never closed, but the case is long gone cold. So the murderer actually never was found. That's crazy. So it could be any of these fuckers strolling out at night. I feel like they wouldn't bring up a murder like that just for the sake of her backstory. I feel like another character should be involved as well, especially since a lot of these characters are connected in some weird way or another. I don't remember how Yoko or Shogo are really connected to the other people around here. I guess that's maybe also the reason why they're so disconnected in the story chart. But for example, like how the students are connected to the detectives, and Haruwe also to the police department. Like they all just kind of are entangled within each other's storyline, which I think is really interesting. But I just hope we also get to find out the killer at some point.
Thank you. That's more than enough.
Now then, I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout.
All right.
There's no telling what kind of curses you might find out on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it, and try to be ready for anything.
I will.
Well, if that's all, I should be going. All right. Almost there. really just these two left, and then my god, I can go to a part where that I haven't played yet. And then I'll be all up to date. Harue Shigima, 1 a.m. Shigima Mansion, reception room. It's been almost an hour since Richter left. He promised he'd call me if anything happened, but he hasn't. So all I can do is wait and wait. Or he could look around the room. That old hanging scroll. I've seen it too often to feel anything from it now. The flowers put me at ease just a little. Oh, those are flowers she got from... I feel like giving blue flowers a bit odd. Normally give kind of white flowers after a funeral. Should I put a record on? No, it's too late for that. I'm not in the mood for music anyway. What is that? It's a fax machine. I rarely find a use for it, but I don't know anybody else who owns one. I'm waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. There's nothing on at this hour. I see no point in turning it on. Hey. Oh, I can't click that? I guess I have to wait for him to come back. Come to think of it, I never offered him any tea. Not that I ever learned how to make it. It's not that crazy to make tea. It's not that difficult. Unless we're talking specifically like matcha or whatever. What's this? A newspaper? It must have fallen off the chair. It's a newspaper. I only leave them in here for the guests. I hardly ever read them myself. I don't think I've taken the time to go over one in years, in fact. Well, it's not like I have anything better to do. It looks like the city's biggest problem right now is pollution. I remember how the air and water used to be even more polluted. The river was covered in scum from all the sewage and industrial waste, and it stank so badly that it made my eyes water. Eventually people started getting sick and couldn't be ignored anymore. Fortunately, it's gotten better since then. Although the air around the industrial district is still filthy with gas and smog. Look at the economy articles. All sorts of articles about the current states of the economy. Now that the post-war boom has passed its peak, we're moving into the era of large corporations. It's about 220 to 230 yen to the dollar. Manufacturing is on the rise and exports are healthy. The dollar's down from its height, and people are saying it could fall further. There's no denying how much the standard of living has improved in the past few years. It's common to own a car and television now, and supermarkets are better stocked than ever. Damn, I fucking wish. Look at the culture articles. Now that everyone has more spending money to go around, people are coming up with all kinds of new diversions. It seems like only yesterday that people were flocking to the arcades to shoot aliens. But now we have these enormous theme parks and game machines that plug straight into our television. Everyone's talking about superhero series, foreign films and movies based on the latest bestsellers. Back in my day, fusion rock and folk music was all the rage. But now it's all about city pops and idols. I find it hard to care about that sort of thing anymore. Look at the education articles. Everyone attends high school now, even girls. Universal education policy, they call it. The country's gotten rich enough that every child can go to school. Education is the backbone of modern society. If you want to work for a good company, you have to get into a good university.
With more people in the running than ever, the competition to get into those universities has gotten fierce though. The new generation is rebelling, schoolyard violence and delinquency are on the rise. But my boy was too sensible to get mixed up in any of that. I don't want to read anymore. It'll only remind me of him. But you gotta look at the television articles. I don't really watch much television. It feels as if all the information in the world gets passed through that little black box. But father stopped them from reporting on the kidnapping. Back when it happened, I was glad about that. Less fuss. Should I just go down them once again? Look at the society articles. If there's one thing Honjo never wants for, it's horrific crimes. They found a police officer dead in a local park just the other day. A lot of my family are in the police. I hope it wasn't anybody I knew. I don't read the news anymore, not since last year. It brings back bad memories. Although with everyone flocking to the city, land prices are skyrocketing. Nowadays, most people can only dream of home ownership. Well, that's something very relatable. The city's center is going to be nothing but apartments before long. I'm not exactly a businesswoman, so this all feels like another world to me. I hear the new big thing is some mascot line of delinquent birds, mockingbirds, I think it's called. Was that what Richter was talking about? Trends seem to have such short shelf lives now, with how quickly the times are changing. I think I'm just too old to keep up anymore. It's young people who are leading the way. With their modern world views, my generations will only fall further behind. Suicide at local high school. Oh, I remember that. A high school girl jumped off a roof about a week ago. She was bullied, I think, or maybe it was something about exam pressure. What? But no, this can't be right. Her name. Michiyoshi Raishi from Komagata High School. It can't be. Now this is really weird to go from that shocking fact, at least for her, because I already know obviously, but to go to now the comedy boom is over. All the comedians are flocking to other genres. The occult seems really popular at the moment. Look at all these paranormal specials. I'm waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. I've made sure the receiver's off on the hook. It'll ring as soon as he calls. Oh! Ah! That must be him. Hello, Shikima residence. Harue Shigima, 2 a.m. Komagata Bridge. Richter called me out to meet him, and we came here to Komagata Bridge. Richter, there's something I need to tell you. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. Wait, what the fuck? I wasn't able to get the bird. That's really upsetting. Oh, I had to click it while he was still there. Oh, that's really annoying. I'm not doing this over again, though. I'm not doing it a third time. That's a bit much. We're on Komagata Bridge, over the Sumida River. There's a highway on one side and a freeway on the other. What's the difference? I know this is gonna sound really dumb, but English is not my native language, and I have no clue what the fuck is the difference between a highway and a freeway. I'm gonna have to Google that. I'm a little too interested in knowing that answer.
Okay, so I just found out that I've been saying this wrong all this time. The freeway is actually what I was thinking was the highway all this time. Highway is just a regular road where you can have like stop signs and shit and traffic lights. And freeway is actually what I thought was I've been calling the freeway the highway all this time. That's so dumb. Oh my god. But they're both deserted this late at night. Okay. Since I've already played this, I'm just gonna go for this one because I don't want to miss it this time. Mockingbird 18 discovered. Thank you. Why is his shirt so far open? I'll give him the pleasure of going first. I already know what he's gonna say, and I already know what I'm gonna say, so it's whatever. Please, go ahead. Alright then. I've been poking around places connected to the 7 mysteries looking for curse bearers, and I think I found a few candidates. First, a tall man I ran into in Kinshibori Park. I asked him for directions, trying to probe him a little, but he turned the questions right back around on me. And he was out there he was out of there the second he figured I wasn't that what he was looking for. I got a sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer. Okay, so actually at the beginning of the game, when playing Shogo, I thought that Harue was the one that this guy was actually working for, because she looked like kind of a, I don't know, like pristine lady, you know, and this guy works for a lady that he's basically a fucking sim for. So I was thinking I was thinking that Harue was the lady that was working for. Obviously, Harue doesn't have a job. She's a housewife with a deceased kid. So there's no way that they're connected in any way. But now I'm like, who the fuck is this guy working for? Because we don't really get to see the CEO or whatever. And I really want to know who she is. Who is this guy simping for? I need to know. I got the sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer. Then there's this middle-aged guy I saw on South Wadagasui Street. There's no question about this one. He had one of the curse stones in his hand. He's not really hiding it very well, huh? He had a nervous air about him, too. It was clear he was up to some shady business. Gathering soul drags, I'd bet. He'd make a good target. Next up is a pair. A young man and a woman. I saw around Ryogoku Bridge. So another thing I missed because I was replaying it, but the first time I played, I turned around when I met Namikaki and I saw this chick behind me, which was really fucking creepy, but she talked to us for like 2 sentences and was just like, well, you better do as he says. And I think that this is the college student that is actually related to Tetsuo Tsurumi? Something. The detective. The old detective guy. I think they're related. I think that's his daughter. Because she's a college student, I assume. Or no. I don't know. I don't remember, but I think so. A young man and a woman I saw around Ryogoku Bridge. This time the man came up to me and asked me flat out if I was a curse bearer. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about, and he backpedaled and left. Looks like they lurk around there often, looking for kindred spirits, would be my guess. Though it didn't seem like they were quite working as a pair. Gathering soul drags in a group might be a decent idea if you could make it work, but with things being how they are, it's got to be hard to find folks one can trust. I've got brass though. I don't know what their deal is, but I'd like to find out. The last is 2 detectives I've seen sniffling around. The police are involved? Not necessarily. A body turned up in a local park a few days ago, so they might just be looking into that. Still, the park's got ties to one of the 7 mysteries. Might be it was a curse that did the guy in. And if you're sending in detectives from the head office, then something's got to beat up.
How do you know where they're from?
Let's just say that when you're in this business, there are some faces you get to know. It's just his buddy. Anyway, that's everyone who's caught my eye.
You found all of them in so little time. I really did hire the best.
It's all in a name, ma'am. Richter Kai, P.I. No, wait. Make that Richter Kai, Investigator Extraordinaire.
My, an investigator extraordinaire. Is it why you can't dress like that without drawing attention to yourself?
You bet. An investigator extraordinaire can blend in like a chameleon in any outfit.
Well, that aside, the middle-aged man and the young couple sound the most promising, am I right?
Whichever we pick, it's still too early to make a move. It seems like the curse bearers are less involved with each other than we thought. Plus, there's still others we don't know about. I play we hang fire and see how things play out. Once more bodies start showing up, they'll get the pot sitting nice and hot. And once it's boiling, our chance will come.
There's something I need to tell you.
What's up?
Well, that girl Michio Shiraishi,
the one who was at Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping?
That's her. Well, she's dead.
She's what?
The student who committed suicide last week, that was her.
I heard something like that had happened. Never got to see the name though. Talk about bad luck. Finally get a lead only to find it's turned into a literal dead end. Nice way of saying that, dude. Unless her death was the whole reason Yonoichi was so shaken up. Said she was going to curse him. Was he talking about her taking revenge from beyond the grave?
It seems like we're back where we started.
Not necessarily. That teacher knows something. I'm sure of it. At the very least, I put money on him having something to do with Miss Shiraishi's death. That's why he's so scared of being cursed by her.
I see.
And also something tells me he knows more about your son's kidnapping. In any case, I think I've got a good idea of what he's hiding. Call it a hunch.
A hunch?
Well, more of a theory. Care to take a guess? I can guess, but I actually don't remember, so... I mean, fuck it, I'm gonna try again anyway.
I can't say for certain, but...
Shit. I really don't know. Mr. Yonoichi? Shit. Can I go back? Mr. Michio Shiraishi silenced Mr. Oh. Or Michio Shiraishi silenced Mr. Yodo with murder, with a curse, with blackmail. Yeah, but that's what's already being said, so I'm gonna go with Michio Shiraishi. No, Mr. Yonoichi silenced Michio Shiraishi with murder. What if Mr. Yonoichi silenced Michio Shiraishi with murder?
What do you think?
I see. So you think Miss Shiraishi's death might not have been a suicide? It would certainly give him a good reason to think she'd hold a grudge, but I'm not sure I buy it. What the fuck? Incorrect. It might be a little bit far-fetched.
I see. I'm sorry if I disappointed you.
Again? Yeah, I feel like I got it the first time wrong as well. I did say something different, probably along the lines of that Miss Shiraishi fucking hell. The girl blackmailed Yonoichi, which was also like, oh, it's a little far-fetched, or he's already said that before, so that must not be true. So what else would it be? It was blackmail was the option, murder was the option, and then there was another one, and I forgot again. I'm not really cut out to play detective. Well, no point on dwelling on speculation. The truth will out in time. Right now, I think we need to have another chat with Mr. Yonoichi. Didn't you want to tell me something? I've already said everything I wanted to say. Well, then, what else is there, you know? The fucking river. The Sumida River. The water is filthy and horrid, but at night when it's still, it looks almost peaceful. Can I ask you something, ma'am? In the Sumida River, what you Oranjo folks picture when you think of home? I couldn't say. All I can tell you is that I can hardly stand the sight of it. Right, I should have guessed. This was where they found him after he went missing. All alone, floating in that horrible water. All I can think is how scared he must have been. How cold he must have been. What did he ever do to deserve something so awful? I've come here every day since then. And I prayed to the river to give him back. To give me back my son. Day after day. After day. You know, in olden times, people believed rivers marked where our worlds met the next. So the act of crossing flowing water had a huge amount of spiritual significance. Back when Edo was founded, the people of Chuo saw the Sumida River the same way. They associated the far side of the river with the afterlife. That same place would later become Honjo. All their fear and revulsion accumulated there and took root. But then the Ryogoku Bridge sprang up after the Great Fire of Meireki, and just like that, Honjo was part of the city too. And as it turned from the farmland to a town, the people surrounded it with the man-made rivers and crisscrossed it with canals and waterways. Weren't those to prevent flooding? That's what I was told. They were, but that's not all they were for. Their other purpose was to contain all the corruption that had built up on the far shore, and stop it leaking through to our side of the Great Divide. Officially, they were a physical barrier, but unofficially, they were a spiritual one too. So, if I have this right, are you saying that Honjo is a place where the real world meets the afterlife? Exactly. That's why the rite of resurrection is here too. Rather than anywhere else, I'm sure of it. And it's probably why the 7 mysteries and their curses have survived to the modern day. And I guess it would make this spot we're standing now, right over the water, the border between life and death. If there ever was a place where bringing back the dead might be possible, I reckon it's here. It's funny that you mentioned praying to the river. That might have done more than you think. Is that supposed to make me feel better? Just thinking aloud, ma'am. Only just realized, again, a little late on the uptake, I'm stupid. I guess the reason Hadue when Shogo asked Hadue, like, what name she was using or what name he can call her by, she went like, you can call me ma'am. And she smiled while saying that too. That's kind of cute. I think they're cute together. Well, it's a nice thought. Also, another file I probably should be reading. This time, Culture and Society. Come on. Was it Honjo? Sumida River? A Class A river that is part of the Arakawa River system, which runs through much of eastern Tokyo and empties into Tokyo Bay. Sorry. During the Edo period, Sumida's riverbanks played a key role in the transportation of lumber used for construction. In addition to its logistical importance, it was also a place for the common folk to gather and enjoy activities such as seasonal flower viewing or river bathing, and there exist many woodblock prints depicting such activities. The area became plagued with sewage issues when the surrounding environs were industrialized in the post-war period. But the situation has improved since. Many unique bridges span the Sumida River, including the Ryōgoku and Azumabashi bridges, which attract a large number of visitors as sightseeing spots. Massive fireworks displays in the summer are also always sure to draw a crowd. The river has served as a cornerstone for both the city and its people, having both aided in its development and serving as an inspiring backdrop for countless works of art and literature. Komagata Bridge, one of the bridges spanning the Sumida River, completed in 1927 as part of the reconstruction effort following the Great Kanto earthquake. It is notable both for its distinctive blue arches and the cutting edge for the time techniques used in its construction. There are many bridges stretching out across the Sumida River, each boasting a unique structural form and design. Anything else? Nope, not yet. Didn't you want to tell me something? I've already said everything I wanted to say. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else? Do I think? Standing around is the last thing I want to be doing right now. It's my only chance to bring back my son. I can't afford to fritter it away. Well, I agree, ma'am, but, I don't know how to continue. Oh, that's right. There's one more memory I'll have of this river. Do you mind if I tell you? Go ahead. It must have been about 20 years now, when I was still a schoolgirl. Back then, the Sumida River was much filthier than it is now. It was full of garbage and industrial discharge. It was scummy and slimy, and it stank. You could look out over the water and see dead cats and dogs and pigeons just floating. And one day, among all the filth and garbage, there was a piece of my missing classmate's hand. What? Yeah, I know. Me too, Richter. What the fuck? A little story she wanted to share. A murder story she wanted to share. It was almost a miracle when you stop to think about it. What were the chances that someone would find a part of her that was still recognizable? And that although everything but the palm had rotted away in the water, the part that was left would have an identifiable scar, and that they could tell it'd been a murder from the blade marks on the bone. Wait, are you talking about the Nejima murders? So you have heard of it. I'm impressed. I assume you were but an elementary schooler at the time. I wasn't really aware of it then, but I only heard about it after the fact. I had no idea the victim was a classmate of yours. To be honest, it was all a bit of a blur. A wave of chaos just parting around me. Something like that. They said the rest of her body must have sunk to the bottom of the river. They combed the riverbed, but they only ever found pieces. Everything else must have rotted and flowed out to sea. Afterwards, I heard that all the divers who had been looking for her fell ill. A sorry story for everyone involved, huh? Yeah, so fucked for the divers, I guess. It's funny. Everyone figures the river's filthy already, so one more piece of garbage won't hurt. First of all, calling it funny is really rude, but second of all, calling a high school girl's dead body garbage, kind of fucked up. But every little bit makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle. I know I wouldn't want to go rooting around down there myself. That's right. Which is why the riverbed is the last place anybody would go looking. Or so was the killer's thinking, I suppose. The times were changing quickly back then. Things were confusing, everyone seemed to be in a hurry. Young people were moving to Tokyo in droves. Some even ran away from home to make it in the big city. And they made easy targets for bad people. A lot of them ended up disappearing without a trace. You see, back then, if you chopped a body up into tiny pieces and threw it in a river, it would rot quickly and discreetly and sink to the bottom, never to be seen again. Are you saying what I think you're saying? They arrested him shortly after. Fumichika Nejima, the man who killed my classmate and cut her into pieces. He was so methodical. He was so methodical about it. It couldn't have been his first crime. And people began to wonder how many other girls he'd murdered the same way. The police never found any evidence of other murders in the end, but the river knows the truth. How many corpses has it swallowed up over the years, I wonder? That same thought spread through everyone's mind, and they started to avoid this area. So really, this river has been rank with corruption for decades now. Or at least that's how it seems to me. Well, was it interesting? Well, I can see why you don't have any good memories of this river. With all that darkness lurking beneath the surface, there's no reason that you would. Still, if I may, ma'am, I'm surprised you know so much about the Nejima murders. But how could I not? After all, I was the one who found the hand. The police actually wrote me a thank you letter. They said it was only thanks to me that they managed to bring Nejima to justice. That was the only time my father ever said he was proud of me. Huh. Fucked up daddy issues again, obviously. I guess it just wasn't the killer's day. Sometimes I wonder if he resents me for it. The killer? Yeah, obviously he fucking does. I guess another file needs to be read. The Nejima Murders Overview. A notorious case from over 2 decades ago involving the murder of a female high school student. It first came to the attention of the authorities when part of a human left hand was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Testing revealed it to belong to a missing female high school student. As it appeared to have been severed deliberately, the police launched a murder investigation. A large-scale search of the river was organized, but the highly polluted state of the water made this impossible. Visibility was poor, the stench was intense, and the divers quickly fell ill. They succeeded in recovering only the victim's head and what appeared to be part of her leg before the search was called off. At the time of the incident, the Sumida River was as polluted as it had ever been. Neither fish nor shellfish could survive in it, eventually causing the annual fireworks festival to be called off indefinitely. Over the course of the search, the police discovered a number of unidentified human bones. This caused a stir among the public, as several other young women had gone missing in recent years in the Tokyo area, and it was feared that they may have fallen victim to the same fate.
Forensic technologies at the time, however, were not advanced enough to determine the identities of the deceased, and so the police were unable to open any inquiries. Due to the overwhelming lack of circumstantial evidence, the investigation ground to a halt until a hitherto unrelated individual came to its attention. During a questioning about a separate incident, Fumichika Nejima, a 36-year-old shop owner with no relation to the victim, divulged details about her that had never been released to the general public. An investigation to his background was conducted, leading to his arrest. Nejima testified that he had snatched his victim from the street and confined her in the underground storeroom of his shop, which also served as his living quarters. He chose her for no special reason, but simply decided she was an opportune target on seeing her walking alone at night. After keeping her locked up for several days, he restrained her, sewed her mouth shut, and severed fingers and toes with a box cutter, while she was still conscious. As she screamed silently behind her sealed lips, he proceeded to her wrists, her ankles, her elbows, her knees, working his way inward slowly and methodically. His victim constantly wavered in and out of consciousness. Her ordeal continued until she died of blood loss. Nejima dismembered the rest of her body and disposed of it behind his home in the Sumida River before cleaning his storeroom and returning to his everyday routine as if nothing had happened. The brutality of his actions shocked the nation when they were eventually reported. Once apprehended, Nejima readily divulged the details of the murder, but was less willing to explain his motive. When asked, he would only break down in tears, saying, "I don't know what came over me. I know it was wrong." In the end, the police could extract nothing more from him than expressions of remorse. Although the efficiency of his methods strongly suggested that he had committed similar crimes in the past, no corroborating evidence ever came to light. Nejima was sentenced to life in prison as his first hearing. The sentence was imposed with no appeal from the defendant. The Sumida River. I have nothing but old, awful memories of it. So, we done here? Is something wrong? Not really, it just struck me. It's been 20 years since the Nejima murders. So it has. Not to spook you or anything, but I thought you might be interested in knowing. Life in prison doesn't always mean life. There's precedent for first-time offenders being allowed on parole after 20 years. Only if they're found to show remorse and a desire to reform themselves, of course. That's right. I'm impressed you know so much. Still, it's hard for someone with a criminal record to reintegrate into society. I heard they've been trying to fix that recently, matching inmates with jobs and accommodations. Oh, really? They keep an eye on them, of course, and make them report in for regular checkups. But to avoid discrimination, they keep the inmates' records a secret from everyone but their employers. They even give particularly notorious criminals new identities so they won't be recognized in the workplace. My. The way you put it, it's like you're saying Fumichika Nejima could be out on parole right now, back in society under a new name with nobody any the wiser. It's possible. As it happens, a little birdie told me about a big name making parole a few months back. I don't know if there was Nejima, but our discussion just now did bring it to mind. I see. How unsettling. Now that you mention it, I just remembered something too. What was it? I was passing Komagata High School a little while ago when I saw someone. A janitor, I think, and I could have sworn he reminded me of Fumichika Nejima. Oh? He looked a little different after 20 years. Much thinner than I remembered, too. I told myself I was just seeing things. But perhaps it was him after all. So, what next? The big question now is what the rest of the curse bearers are up to. Luckily, the Sumida River is a good distance from any of the 7 mysteries. It's unlikely the other curse bearers will come all the way here. I can finally have a moment to think. I see. All right. Excuse me. All right then, here we go. Actually, I feel like I'm gonna read this guy first before I forget. First off, the fucking high school janitor. Did I read that? I don't remember. Fuck. Might as well do it again. Makoto is the janitor of Komagata High School. His predecessor was nearing the retirement, so he began working as his replacement about 6 months ago. Makoto is popular among the students for his friendly and caring nature, going so far as to remember the names and faces of all those attending the school. He is affectionately known as Old Man Ashimiya. Doesn't Oh, calling someone an old man affectionately. Although he appears to be a simple, amiable man, Makoto's occasional shrewd remarks have led to a speculation among students that he may have led a far more interesting life than it seems. Whatever the truth may be, he will be remembered as one of the 7 mysteries of Komagata High School for some time to come. Can't really call a janitor one of the 7 mysteries. It's a bit odd, but okay. Did I read his? I don't remember either, honestly. Well, might as well when I'm at it. Hideki is a historian who works part... Fuck, I feel like I did, but I definitely did before, but did I do it again? Is this my 3rd time or is this my 2nd time? Really important distinction. I'm just gonna go do it, and if I already read it a lot, I'll just cut it from the video. Hideki is a historian who works part-time as a curator at the local folk museum and as a teacher at Komagata High School. His recent publication on the rite of resurrection has caused a stir in the occult circles. Although he received the curse of the ever-burning lantern, the curse stone was later collected by Tetsuo Tsutsumi. Hideki is the quintessential obsessive researcher. Despite being entirely unsuited for teaching, he had no choice but to take up a position at Komagata High School in order to make ends meet. While having a captive audience in his classes goes some way to satisfying his need for respect and recognition, his conceited nature makes him unpopular among the students. Lately he is concerned that articles he contributed for purely monetary reasons have earned him a reputation as a researcher of the occult. But the surge of interest in the topic and the resulting volume of article requests he is receiving are undeniably tempting. Hideki is a regular at the Kurokikyo Cafe on Hokusai Street, where he can be found outside his work hours, writing essays and manuscripts. His published books include A Study of the Unknown and an introduction to Bando history. Did I read hers? Again, gonna make the same statement. If I read it before, sorry, then I'll just cut it out. And if I didn't, then I'll keep this in. Michio was a second-year student at Komagata High School. She was found deceased 1 week ago in a back alley of South Arigasui Street, her entire body broken and severely contorted. Police determined that Michio committed suicide by jumping from a nearby apartment building, as there was no suicide note. The police based their conclusion on interviews with Michio's peers. Michio was an honor student with a good head on her shoulders, and consistently excellent grades, making her a favorite among the teachers. Although she appeared somewhat reserved, she had a positive outlook on life and a courageous spirit. Michio and Yako formed a long-lasting friendship during childhood, with Yako's unbending, uncompromising attitude
attitude deeply influencing Michio. However, beneath her strong exterior, Michio had been pushing herself too hard and keeping her emotions bottled up to the point that they risked overflowing. Following her father's death 3 years ago and moving to a new house, Michio began avoiding Yako. Although the two remained in the same area of town and attended the same high school, they gradually grew further apart. Yako herself worried for her childhood friend, but incapable of wading into complexities of Michio's home life, kept her distance. The days passed, and though Michio longed to confess everything to Yako, the moment to do so never came. Michio carried an old talisman, a memento of her father, with her at all times. Sounds like a fucking curse she was carrying around. The person I was actually coming for is Fumichi. Who is this? Fumichi Kanejima, the man who made headlines over 2 decades ago as the perpetrator of the brutal killings known as the Nejima murders. I don't know why. I thought there'd be more information. Maybe that comes on later on. Well, then on to this chick. This fucking weirdo. Where did she come from? It's like she appeared out of nowhere.
I didn't mean to startle you. I'm terribly sorry if I've gotten the wrong people, but would you happen to be curse bearers?
Curse bearers. What's that then?
It means someone was gathering souls for the rite of resurrection. You have heard of the rite of resurrection, haven't you? Everybody's talking about it.
Color me intrigued. Care to tell me more, Miss, what was your name again?
Oh, silly me. I'm Ayame Tono.
Ayame Tono, university student. So this is the one I'm suspecting of being the daughter of Tetsuo Tsutsumi, considering she's also a college/university student. I mean, it would be interesting if she was. But I guess it doesn't have to be. She does have a different last name. But it could also be because maybe she took on the last name of her mother's side again.
There's more to the rite of resurrection than meets the eye, you see. So the best way to collect soul dregs is to kill other curse bearers. And that's about the size of it. I hope it wasn't too much to follow.
No, I think I got the gist. Funny old world we live in, huh? So are you saying you're one of these curse bearers?
No, well, not quite. It's complicated. I'm not, but Yutaro is.
Yutaro? Is that your boyfriend?
Oh, heavens, no. Just a friend. His full name is Yutaro Namigaki.
This poor dude.
We're, I suppose you could say, partners in crime?
Funny way of putting it.
She says her name's Ayame. I guess she's around 20. She must be brave walking around alone this late. Or maybe there's more to it.
About Yutaro Namigaki. So where is this Yutaro now?
Well, about that, he's not actually a curse bearer anymore. He's more like a former curse bearer.
Former? How so?
I don't really know the details myself, but apparently he lost his curse stone. Typical, right? You make such a show of being a top student only to flunk when it counts. So now I'm out here looking for curse bearers myself. If you want something done right,
you gotta do it yourself. I get it. About why you approached us. So anyway, mind if I ask you why you thought I was a curse bearer?
Oh, that I'm terribly sorry if I was rude. I saw the two of you out late at night, and I suppose I made assumptions.
Gotcha. Sorry if he gave you the wrong idea. Out of interest, what was your plan if we did turn out to be curse bearers?
Great question. And the answer is, I was going to ask you very nicely for your curse stones.
And you thought we'd have given them to you, just like that?
Well, maybe not, but you know what they say. You never know until you ask.
Isn't it you never know until you try? What the fuck? You must really love your boyfriend if you're willing to try something that risky.
Oh goodness, no. We're just friends. My life doesn't revolve around him, you know. Anyway, you aren't curse bearer, so I'm just bothering you, aren't I? Please ignore me.
Well, I'm not gonna do that. He lost it? How did he do that?
I wasn't with him at the time, so I don't know exactly what happened. All I know is that he came back saying he didn't have it anymore.
You know what? My bet is on that this chick actually stole it from him. And he doesn't know. Or he does know, and she's lying right now. Maybe she killed him. Who knows? Maybe she stole the... Oh no, wait. That's dumb. That's dumb of me. I'm really stupid. He lost it to the detectives. I am betting, though, that she still does have a curse stone of her own. Because how else would you have the guts to be walking around late at night, not expecting to get killed, asking people for a curse stone? Like, anybody's obviously not gonna give you the curse stone. What the fuck?
All I know is that he came back saying he didn't have it anymore. Although, well, it's strange that you'd probe into that, of all things.
Just a curious sort. That's all. Sorry. Sorry if it's a touchy subject.
Oh, I don't mind. I don't particularly care about keeping it a secret. Utero can be a little irrational sometimes, so I have to keep a level head on my shoulders.
They're about the rite of resurrection. So what are you trying to do with this rite of resurrection?
Well, Utero has his own plan all laid out. I don't know if I can get behind it though. It seems, how do I put it, self-centered? I mean, if you've got a chance to resurrect the dead, it would be a waste not to use it on someone that really matters, right? So I was willing to seal this curse stone at the last second and use it for myself. Well, until you lost it anyway. Oh, but don't tell Utero I was going to do that, okay? I don't think he'd be happy to hear it.
Of course. Keeping secrets is my business.
My, aren't you dashing?
I love Harue's look of, like, displeased. Sounds like you really have your heart set on this ride. What were you hoping to use it on?
Do you promise you won't laugh?
Cross my heart.
Well then, let me tell you my master plan. Prepare to be amazed. I'm an art student, you see. Woodblock prints are my specialty. Ukiyo-e in particular.
Ukiyo-e, huh? You must be a cultured lady.
Really? Do you think so? Everybody says it's a strange interest for a girl to have. You know, people often think of ukiyo-e as some inaccessible, high-class art form, but that's actually totally untrue. Back in the Edo period, it was the art for the masses, amusement for the common people. So when you think about it, you feel exactly the same thrills from every brushstroke as they did back then. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, I guess.
And as far as I'm concerned, the undisputed king of ukiyo-e is the one and only Hokusai.
Is that is the guy that made the waves? The big waves with the boats, really pretty.
Have you heard of him?
Sure I have. He's famous. Didn't he live somewhere around here back in the Edo period?
That's right. You're just as knowledgeable as you look.
Stop flirting, girlie. He's already taken by the MILF next door.
His 36 views of the Mount Fuji are so iconic. They're the only works of his most people know. But Hokusai was so much more than just mountains and waves. That's the only teeny tiny tip of a veritable iceberg of work.
I've got to admit, I only really know him from those landscapes myself.
Oh, don't worry about it. Anyone can learn. When Hokusai died at the age of 90,
He was 90, girl. If you're...
he left behind over 30,000 drawings. That's multiple drawings a day for 80 years. That's amazing, isn't it?
So he kept on drawing right up until into his old age, huh? Impressive.
But even in his final years, he was never satisfied with his own work. His dying words were, should heaven afford me but 5 more years, I shall finally become a true artist. Even on his deathbed, he still thought he had more to learn. He was already the greatest painter and artist of his era. Who knows what he could have done with more time? Well, that's what I want to find out.
Hold on, are you saying...
Besides, he always had said he wanted to move out of 100 houses, but he only made it to 93. Isn't that just tragic?
Oh no. Nuh-uh. No way this is going where I think it's going.
Imagine the masterpieces he could create with the modern techniques. I feel all dizzy just thinking about it.
You've gotta be kidding me. So if I understand correctly, you want to use the Rite of Resurrection too?
That's right. I want to bring Hokusai back to life.
Well, that's certainly a novel idea.
That's what she'd use it on? What a waste.
I agree. He was 90 years old when he died, which is impressive for his age, for that time period. Like, he lived his life, he lived a full fucking life. Leave the guy be, man. Let that guy rip.
Oh gosh, is that the time? I should be going.
I also love Richter for being like, God, you gotta be kidding me. This bitch is dumb as fuck. Finally, one sensible guy in this whole thing. I love him even more.
I need to get my hands on the curse bearer before daybreak. Sorry for flagging you down out of the blue like that. Best of luck.
Well, there goes trouble. If we're going after Curstone, we should keep an eye on her, too, if we can.
Why do you say that?
Before she left, she wished us best of luck. She's got at least an inkling that we're curse bearers.
My.
There's a good chance we'll clash sooner or later. We're after the same thing after all. You head on back to the mansion, ma'am. I think I'll tell her for a little while. And that's it. And now I'm caught up to what the fuck. I can finally go back to continuing this game. No more catching up to do. And hopefully my current fuck, I'm tired. My current recordings won't be fucked up and everything is alright. I'm gonna save, even though there's no point in saving, because honestly I've got a story chart, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So saved, and hopefully I didn't forget to read up on anybody, and if not, I can maybe do it quickly now. Did I read up on Yonouchi or Hitomi? Or, yeah, I did read up on this fucker. I did on this guy. Did I do it on this guy? No, I did not. But also, the other girl is not... The cute Hokusai girly is not in between here either, which is kind of... Oh, no, wait, here. Ayame Tono. Okay, let's go with Yuzuru Namigaki first. The young man Yutaro Namigaki. The young man encountered at Ryogoku Bridge, he didn't hide the fact that he was a curse bearer. His curse stone was later recovered by Tetsuo Tsutsumi. Yutaro is an elite student at a prestigious university. He lives off the generous allowance he receives from his parents, who are both prominent local figures. Although Yutaro has lived a charmed material life, emotional neglect at home has caused him to develop a spoiled, egotistical streak. The only kindness he knew growing up was from his family's maid, and he still fondly thinks of the plain rice with butter they used to enjoy together. Hey man, at least they got something to enjoy together, you know? I am Etono. I am as a young woman working with Yutaro Namigaki. Her love of Katsushika Kokusai's Ukiyo is so great that she wishes to resurrect him with the rite of resurrection. The fact that that's what she wants to use it on even makes me tired, honestly. Ayame is a clever but calculating university student who only has time for her own interests. She's making the best of a recent boom in the popularity of female university students, incited by their appearance across TV commercials and radio programs. Whoa. You go, girl. Really girl bossing it out there. Ayame is content to ride this trend so long as it allows her to get her hands on whatever she needs and wants in life. Recently, Ayame has figured out that older men will fall for her if she acts a little stupid. Oh my god, I love that for her. You get that bread any way you can, girl. She was approached by Yutaro Namigaki in town, and although she was not attracted to him, agreed to date him because his family seemed rich. However, she does not think much of him as a human being and is beginning to grow bored of their relationship. Jesus Christ. I don't think much of you as a human being is like, I think the most biggest insult you could give to somebody. That's insane. Well then, I guess that's it for today. Wee wee. Ciao.